Welcome back to Lenz Comic Corner Classic / Non-Classics. This is episode number 1737 and Doubleshot number 1631. I have two Batman-related trades. First up, it is Batman, the Great Crusader. Let's collect issues from Batman 475 to 483 and Detective Comics 472. You're probably thinking, why is issue Detective Comics here? Well, because the crossover issue of Batman. It was a two-parter, and a lot of these issues involve Ventriloquist and Scarface. Yep. Really cool Batman villains. Very underrated ones. I mean, people do know about these two characters. And you might be thinking, because the fact they didn't really appear very much, prior, they're not as big as some of the other villains that are as big as characters like Joker, Riddler, Penguin, Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, Clayface, Harley Quinn. Not as big as those, but they are kind of known Batman villains. You might think they're B-listers, and they kind of are, because they're not one of the big name villains per se. And this, I believe these issues were the first time that, if I'm not mistaken, I think this was the first time that this was the first appearance of the Ventriloquist. No, 475 was the first appearance of Renee Montoya. Yes. I bet some people probably thought that she was a creation for the Batman Animated Series. Nope, she was not. She pre-existed that, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, let's see. Her first appearance was, this of course was in 1992, obviously. Her first appearance on the TV show was, I think, one of the early episodes, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Yeah. I mean, her first appearance was in March of 1992. And the first time she appears on the show, let's see if I can find here actually. Let's see here. It's not that one. Where are you? Yeah, I'm trying to find exactly what was the name. What was of her first appearance on the show? Let's see. Renee Montoya. She was basically kind of like a recurring character in the show. They ain't really a list of exactly okay, POV. I'm not really sure exactly what technically counts as her first appearance on the show itself. Was Nothing to Fear? No, she doesn't appear that way. Excuse me. I'm trying to find exactly when was her first appearance in the show. Okay, here we go, finally. Her first appearance was in the episode Pretty Poison. Yes. Which is actually the 9th episode of the series. So, that's interesting, to say the least. Yes. The fact that Renee Montoya appeared in the comic just 6 months prior to appearing on the TV show. And you probably think, okay, what does she look like in her debut appearance? Oh, they did the story of Return of Clayface. Let's see if I can find her here. It's probably not really big noteworthy anyways. Mm-hmm. But this issue is apparently her first appearance. Yeah, and it does lead into well, to the comics 472. That was technically her first appearance in the comics. Yes, it was. Mm-hmm. Yes, but in the case of Scarface, his first appearance was way back in Detective Comics 583, which I believe was also the first time that Albert Wesker appeared in the comics. Yes. Well, Arnold Wesker. Yes, you're thinking, Wesker? Does that mean he's related to Albert Wesker from Resident Evil? No. Not really. Yeah. But basically, yeah, Scarface does look a little different than he does on the TV show because, well, for one thing, they actually, if you watch the animated series, they use this very look here for that show. When he appeared on The Batman, they gave him a redesign where he looked like Al Pacino from Scarface. No, I'm not kidding about it. They dressed him up like that character. Didn't have the top hat. I mean, appearance-wise, he's based on a 1920s gangster. And Ventriloquist is always by his side, constantly. Mm-hmm. It's a really good two-parter. Now, I should point out, though, yes, Alan Grant himself basically is the writer for some of these issues, but he leaves with issue 480. The last few issues in this book are done by Doug Moak. Yep. This actually started his second run of the book. And you're thinking, second run? Yes, he originally started with the series with issue 386 and left for 400, and it was off the book for 80 straight issues until he came back here and stayed for the book until 559. Long time behind the book. And of course, John Wagner was on here as a co-writer for Alan Grant. They are your artists for these issues, and here's the thing: two of these artists are no longer alive. Jim Aparo. I don't remember if Norm Burnfinger. I know Tom Mandrake is still alive. Yes. I think Norm passed away, I think it was just a few years ago. Let me check, just to be sure. Oh yeah, he's not alive anymore. Nope. No, he isn't. And Q, this guy was pushing 50 when he died. He was only 48 years old. I'm like, wow. That's interesting. Yeah, Jim Aparo, I believe he passed away in 2005. Yes. And you might be thinking, did Jim Aparo ever work with Chuck Dixon? Yes, he did. As a matter of fact, according to Chuck Dixon, he's one of his, like, aside from Graham Nolan, Jim Aparo was one of those artists he loved working with. Aside from, like, he's one of two artists he loved working with. The other, of course, being Graham Nolan, of course, because he worked with him a lot. Yep. Oops. Sorry about that. Yeah. So, aside from the Scarface stuff, by the way, love this cover art here. And now the entire here is this done by Norm Boffiger. Yes, they all started this thing in here. Now, Scarface isn't a lot of these issues in this trade. Yes, and I do mean a lot. Mm-hmm. And by the way, this book only contains 8 issues from the series of Batman. Yep. Yeah, the whole thing, there's a subplot here about Vicky Vale, where, like, apparently she's seen kissing another guy. Yeah, and this other guy apparently has got feelings for her. And it doesn't really go anywhere at all. Yeah. Yeah, this guy himself is, like I said, not around very long. I think he's pretty much in the way taken care of with the very next issue. Oh, no, he isn't. He's only here for a couple appearances, and that's it for the character. Yeah, that's the weird thing about this character. He just abruptly disappears after this quick two-parter. Yeah, he's never seen again. Plus, here's your Batmobile for this period of time. Yep. I like this design. It's actually really good. And then you have part 3 being in issue Batman of 476. Now, we're getting toward the very end of Alan Grant's time on the book. Yeah, he was not around very long in the book. No, not necessarily. And pretty much in this issue, we kind of have, well, it's implied that Batman revealed identity to Vicky Vale. And we have this other guy here who is taken care of in this issue. Let's see if we can find who this guy is. It's not Helton Spruce. No, it's somebody else. Yeah, I'm looking at basically this. Apparently, this did end his tenure as the artist with this particular book. Yeah, basically with this book here, you're probably thinking, have I covered pretty much like with this trade here? Have I covered pretty much like every single like comic of the artist known Boffiger as the artist of this book? Yes. Yeah, and then pretty much for the last 2 issues, you have just a Gotham Tale, which is done by Wagner and John Wagner and Cam Kennedy. This is a really good... basically, it's a 4-parter. Where basically just... It's kind of like a horror story. And I love these covers. I think this cover artwork is done by... I think it may have been done by Brian... Oh, it's done by Tom Taggart. That's who does the covers. Yep. And then you have 479. Well, basically, that's basically a quick little 2-parter. You're probably thinking, what about 479? Well, there is a brand new character makes her debut in this issue. Yes. And her name is Pagan. That's seriously her name. Pagan. Excuse me. And she's in this issue, a couple issues of Batman Shadow of the Bat, the first of Shadow of the Bat. I mean, she's not here very well. She's here in this issue here, but she does appear in the very next issue of the book. Yeah, she's an Alan Grant character. I mean, I don't think she shows up very next issue. I don't think she does. Yeah, and 480 is... Here it is. This is the final issue Alan Grant ever did for the book. And it's mostly a Tim Drake story. Yes, it's a Tim Drake story. Or mostly put with this one, he goes after the guys who vandalized his mother's grave. I didn't exactly know what exactly happened with his mom. But apparently she died at some point. Yes. Yes, she did. Not really sure what exactly happened with his wife. Well, let's see. Apparently she was killed off in the Detective Comics 621. Yeah. Not being... She was killed during the Rite of Passage story. Yep. So yeah, basically Alan Grant had her taken care of. Like, basically just develops... It's just second part of, like... stuff related to her... Well, Tim Drake. And you're probably thinking... A female character is killed to advance a male character. Yes, that kind of is the case with this, where you have, instead of being a love interest, it's the mother of Tim Drake. Yep. So, beats the bad guys up. It's a really good standalone issue, and it's a nice wrap up for the run of Alan Grant. Yes. And then starting with the very next issue, we have Doug Moak's long run for the book. Yes, long run. And the first thing he does, he brings in Maxie Zeus. Now, I have been a little bit questionable. Like, I knew a Maxie Zeus, especially if he appeared on a TV show. I think this may have been his first appearance in the comics. Oh, no, it wasn't. Maxie Zeus first appeared back in 1979 in Detective Comics 483. He's a Denny O'Neil character. Yes, Maxie Zeus. Yep, though this issue here does make his first appearance of the character Harpy. Yeah, and she's only here for she has 3 appearances. This comic here, and the following issue. And that's it for Harpy. Yep. I mean, great to see her. Great to see Maxie Zeus. Very underrated character this guy is. Yep, and she's here for this quick little 2-parter, and then you have 583 just deal with like basically like a burning, like someone who's kind of like a burning victim in a way. Yeah, I don't think it involves any deaths per se in this one. No, just basically a character in a burning crash who don't really appear again after this. Nope, they don't. Yeah. And that's pretty much this book in a nutshell. There's still technically one more book to cover when it comes to Batman to the comics in the 1990s. Because once I review that book, then I'll pretty much be done with Batman in the 90s. Yep. This book is great. I give this book roughly a 10 out of 10. Just really good. Nothing really wrong with this book. Yeah, and here's the weird thing about this. The very next issue for Detective Comics and Batman. I'm just scratching. My calf's kind of itchy right now. The very next issue for both of them is the Prelude to Nightfall. Yes, the Prelude to Nightfall. Alright, we're going back from 1982 to 1987 with, the New Teen Titans, Volume 13. Yes, 13. This collects New Teen Titans, Volume 2, issues 32 to 40. The 3rd annual, and 1 issue Infinity Incorporated. Yes. First time I'm talking about these group of characters in this particular review series. Infinity Inc. I've talked about them before in a comic book history video. Look it up. What they are is that they're mostly made up of the offspring of the JSA, who request to join the JSA, but they were turned down. So apparently Star Spangled didn't like that, so he resigned from the team and took them under his mentorship. And the group was comprised of, at the time, people like Power Girl was on the roster, Huntress. At one point they were, but not anymore. This, of course, was the virtual Earth 2 Huntress. I'm trying to think who else on the team. It was also Atom Smasher. At the time, I think it was under a different name at this point, but... And this is also the same book that Mr. Bones, that directed Bones first appeared in. And you're thinking, really? Yes, really. But here's the weird thing about issue 45. Yeah, it comes toward the very end of the series. By the way, the people who are in the group this time basically is Jade, the daughter of Alan Scott, the original Green Lantern, Obsidian. Also his father is also Alan Scott, but his mother is their mother is basically, get this, their mother is a woman who went by the name of Rosenthorn, who is a Flash villain. Yeah, they revealed this in the I think it was in the very first annual for Friend of Inc. Yep, Mr. Bones on the team at this point, along with the second Wildcat. And these are your members for the original roster, like led by, of course, Star K calls up Skyman, Silver Scarab, who was basically Hector Hall, the son of Hawkman. He, aside from Silver Scarab and Sandman, he was also Dr. Fate. Yeah, he was Dr. Fate of the JSA book. There is Fury, Lila Trevor, who pre-Crisis was a daughter of the Earth 2 Wonder Woman. Post-Crisis, they made her a daughter of another female Fury. Yep. Huntress, of course. Jade, Nucleon, who became Atom Smasher. Power Girl, Brainwave Jr., he's the son of the original one, who was actually a not very well-known villain, per se. No. That's the thing with, well, the original Brainwave. He is He actually died during the early part of this series. Apparently, Roy Thomas had to kill him off for some reason. I don't know why. It's just kind of weird. Yep. Also, apparently that they get this. Brainwave's mom was, and you're not gonna believe this. Like, apparently he, like, basically, he's a relative. She's basically the aunt of, well, Brainwave. Mm-hmm. Well, not Brainwave, Starsman Kid. Yeah. There was also Dr. Midnight. You're thinking, Dr. Midnight. Yeah, this was the second one, who was a woman. Yes. The original one was, I believe he was retired at this point, though they later reckoned he went to another dimension. There's actually a third one called Peter Knight. He became the third one. He was also blind. Yep. There's also Rick Tyler, the son of the original Iron Man. Yelena Martinez, second Wildcat, and of course Mr. Bones, obviously. Yep. First appearance, All-Star Squad number 25. That was the first appearance. Yeah. Now, in story, the reason why the group disbanded was because Starsman O'Kay was murdered. Well, he got killed off in pretty much like the penultimate issue of the series. Yeah, because the very next issue, the series continued on for 2 more issues. Yeah, it continued on for 2 more issues. So yeah, basically you could say that issue 45 comes 8 issues before the finale for the series. Yep. And this all basically involves, there's all stuff here with Mento, Doom Patrol, who's still nuts at this point. We continue that plot thread. And there's all stuff building up toward the wedding of Donna Troy. That happens issue 50 of this run. Yeah. Marvel himself still is a writer, with, of course, Paul Levitz and Roy Dan Thomas. Oh my god, I think Roy Dan Thomas do the Infinite Ink issues. The artwork is by Errata Burrito, who took over from, of all people, George Perez. I think he took over issue number 6, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I believe it was issue 46. Yeah, I think it was issue 6 that this guy took over as the artist of the book. Mm-hmm. No, it was Dan Jurgens. Yeah. He was the artist of the book. I don't think for very long. I'm looking up on here. Oh, he just did just 1 issue. Yep, 1 issue. George Perez still did the cover for a while, even after he stopped doing the interiors. They have Juan Luis Garcia Lopez. Met this guy in person. Really nice guy to meet. He himself was the artist for this book from issues 7 to 11. And so for issue 12, it was Stan Walk. I think did he just do 1 issue? Yeah, he just did 1 issue. I think this guy, Eduardo, he took over issue 13. Yeah, he was basically the regular artist at this point. Out of several fill-in writers. And he's in the book is issue 49. Now you might be thinking, did he say the book after it was retitled to be New Titans with issue 50? Well, no. They had briefly George Perez come back to the book, part of the Who Was Wonder Girl storyline. Yeah, they brought him back for some reason. Not really sure why. But yeah, Perez came back to the book as the artist. Yeah, that'll be something to talk about another time. Yep. They also added Danny Chase, who Linkara says is actually... Ooh, I gotta end this soon. Yeah, that's actually his favorite character. That he... And you might think, when did he first appear? The third annual. He cut off issue 84. Yep. But these are some classic Teen Titans stuff, and I do recommend checking this out. Okay? I give this book also a 10 out of 10. Just really damn good. Okay, so that's the particular review. Stay tuned for next review, which is going to be, well, probably a review for free. Okay? Next video. Bye.